All right. So
It says we're live.
we're live. Hopefully it's a decent stream. I'm hardwired into the internet, but T-Mobile out here.
Okay.
So when I do this, hey, it's
Nice.
to the point with Mike, Leo, and Vince. Hang on while we get everything set up here. Hey guys, it's To the Point podcast number 89.
89, I believe so. It's 89. Mike.
Forgive us, we're using StreamYard 100% this time, and I don't have all the tweaks and the bells and the whistles migrated over from OBS, so I'm still trying to figure all that out.
Mike, they know we always have new technology every time that we put on the show.
well, the
It's
network-
It's not an episode
It's
with it.
not-
I mean,
It's
89
not me.
episodes. We've had technical difficulties
Yes.
in 89 of them.
It's not right. Hopefully our audio is working fine. If you're watching, give us an audio check. Let me see. I can pull up the chat right here.
Nice.
And if anybody responds, I should be able to see it.
Make sure you can see our merch, like make sure you can see our merch and you guys can see everything like that. But before we get going, just to give us a like, give us a share. That's all we ask for. We don't ask for anything else, or beg, or ask, or tell you guys, or tell whatever. One thing we ask you guys to tell is to give us a like, give us a share.
Yeah.
It don't cost anything. But if you guys want to shoot us some change this way, in return, we'll send you guys a shirt.
I always say, even if you don't like us, drop a comment.
Yeah,
It
for
still helps the algorithm.
Yeah,
for us.
whatever. Right now, you can see, you can watch us on our own Rumble channel. This will probably be the last one we pipe out to our own Rumble channel, because you can follow us on all of the Patriot Prayer Network social medias, and their Rumble channel and their X is a pretty big growing platform. So we'll be streaming to our other channels, but Rumble will be to Patriot Prayer Network. And it's a great network full of some good patriots, quite a few podcasts now, and kind of like what they got going on. So, but it's October, what is it, 16th?
I think so.
I'm on vacation.
October 16th.
I'm on
Yeah.
vacation.
October
So
16th.
forgive me.
Already, if you think about it,
a
how
few
quick,
more hours, Mike.
how quick time's going. We were just October 1st the other day.
Yeah,
it's
you know,
going
a
by
lot's
quick.
happened since October 1st,
Lot.
too. What, 2 hurricanes?
Amazing
Two
how
hurricanes?
they're making the days go just a little bit faster.
Right.
There's distractions that they throw us out there every single day by day. Just funny how they just ease their way into people's minds, and it's just like I heard this other podcast say there's this guy on there named John. He says there's a television, like the TV is a tell a lies to your vision,
Did we even introduce John?
Yeah, well,
I'll let you guys do your thing. Yeah.
Tonight we have a
love it.
reoccurring special guest, host of TGI Now, co-host of TGI Now podcast, John Karapi.
Yep.
How's it going, John?
Doing good, guys.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
But that's what you always say, isn't it, John?
Tell-
Finally got you on the back porch.
Tell lies to your
Tell
vision.
lies
yeah.
to your vision.
You can
And-
say television. You could say tell a vision. It's because they are telling you a vision that they want you to live by.
Yeah, for sure.
Or you could say that they're telling you the lies because what they're telling you isn't really the truth. It's the opposite of what
Right.
they want you to do, like we talked about earlier before the podcast.
Right. So every single day, what do they expect the current American to be at, or just the regular current human to be at, is glued to that TV, to that TV, to give you what? Misinformation.
Exactly.
Right?
Stuff that you want to hear, so that your anxiety goes up. That way you go to the doctor, they prescribe you pills.
He's right.
All this stuff is literally written down of how we're going to do it and how we're going to reel you in.
Yep.
And how we're going to do the thing. I was having a conversation with Vince the day. Remember, Vince, when I told you, I was like, hey, Vince, these people that are panicking about getting gas during the hurricanes, during the ports being shut down, during this, during that. I was like, what? They should make a line for all the people and have like a little flag. You know how down in people put little flags on their vehicles to see, have everybody have either a red flag or a blue flag, and either you go
forget unify.
No. Yeah, I mean, let's just
paint our
I mean, let's just go straight. Let's just
He
go
really
straight
did
to
say
it.
this.
Yeah, no, I was like, let's just go straight to it. Okay, this is. Oh, you're in the red flag.
Yeah.
Okay, your gas is gonna be $1.98. Oh, you got a blue flag.
Yeah,
your
let's
gas
have
is
two
gonna be
different
$4.
I like that.
Your gas is gonna be $4.98.
Well,
and let me
I
let me
told him
tell
though,
you-
what about the people that are undecided?
Yeah,
And
right.
he's like, nope, you got to
You
decide.
gotta
You're
pick
either
a-
red or
you
blue.
gotta pick a side.
There
You
is, yeah.
The red pill.
Yeah.
You can call it the red pill or the blue pill.
Hey,
You
why
call it that
not?
too. It's one side or the other.
and
You
there's-
gotta pick the side.
But if you voted for one or the other.
Yeah.
So like he's saying, you pay the gas price of
Yeah.
the one you voted for.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, makes
Why
total
not?
sense.
And then there's
Yeah.
going to be that people be like, oh, well, that's not fair. Well, what do you mean it's not fair?
Yeah,
You voted
yeah,
for
yeah.
it. You voted
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah.
I'm telling you who I
I'm
voted
happy
for.
with my vote.
Absolutely.
I'm paying $1.98.
Absolutely.
it's
You
true.
guarantee you change their way of thinking. Oh,
Yeah.
maybe.
You know,
Well, I'm just saying.
it's true.
You know,
It's a good
that's
point.
exactly what they're doing. You know, that's exactly what they do. They get people panicking.
Yeah.
Put it on TV. Let's get people panicking during the holidays, during the last few. You know, what do you have during the holidays? People struggle during the holidays. There's no money in the bank account. So what do they make you do? Go spend that little extra money you had in that bank account?
You know,
Gone.
you guys see it. See
You
it all
know,
the time.
it's right
You
there,
see
man.
The consumption, it's
You know?
consuming. So remember, like we talked about earlier, that like the mind is so powerful that what you consume consumes you. So it's an antenna. You're receiving information,
For sure.
and that information is being pushed out
Pushed out.
by what you're seeing, what you're doing, how you act in the community,
Yeah.
what you consume, whether it's physical or it's hearing. Like you
Hearing,
said,
For sure,
you
yeah.
know.
That mind, man, is just so amazing how your brain just literally tells you, okay, move my arm,
Yeah.
move my hand, move my lips, move my this without you even knowing.
Isn't it amazing
just-
too how like you could have a group of 30 people, they could all watch the same message and they'll all come out telling a different
The telephone
message.
game.
Like know,
Exactly.
I mean not everybody, but
no, but
you-
but you're
there's
you're
so
gonna
many
get different versions.
yes, they
Yeah.
interpret it so
Yeah,
much
you're right.
different.
And to take what you said a little farther, yeah, what was I going to say now? I forgot my
The television.
No, that was another thought. You were saying I can't remember.
I've been through
No,
that.
you're
all
good.
day.
We all do this once an episode.
No,
Yeah.
but you're good. Yeah, your brain is just so amazing. It's just literally it tells you how to speak, what to see, what
Right.
not to see. So whatever you feed it,
Yeah.
that's exactly
That's what I was gonna say. So-
exactly what's going to put out.
So like you were saying,
Yeah.
like you tell your hand, your different parts of your body to move. Think about this. Like there's so many things going on in your body right now that you have no control over. You don't tell your thyroid gland to do what it needs to do. You don't tell your lungs what it needs to
No.
do to breathe. You don't tell your heart to pump.
Nothing.
Nothing. Everything is done for you.
Oh,
That's how powerful,
powerful.
that is. That's
Yeah,
what I was going to
for
say.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
You know,
the beautiful.
so-
Yeah.
and we're just like kids. I have kids. I have 2 kids. So everything that I feed them or everything that I teach them, that's exactly that. They're not going to know anything else other than that.
That's true. That's
So that's there you go again. They make all these technology stuff so we can put it in our kids' face at an early age, so that they could start their grooming
Yeah.
of how they want these kids to live.
You're right. You're right.
Later on.
I would tell my son
Man,
all the
I don't
time.
know. It's just
when
crazy.
When he was younger, I would talk about the TV, like you're saying, televise your vision. I would always tell him that they're telling you what they tell you on the TV is what they want you to hear.
Yeah.
And that's what I would tell him. He'd be like, oh, okay. So with anything you see, they're telling you what they want you to hear. They're not telling
Yeah.
you what you need to hear or telling you to think for yourself.
They're telling you the version they want you to know.
Exactly.
That's when you
That's
got to
the best thing
go.
to tell
You
your
got to
kids.
go and do your research and
Yep.
be like, wait a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
What about this? You didn't tell me about this.
Yeah.
That changes
Changing
everything.
everything? Exactly. Because something ain't right there. Like, what are they telling? They're telling me something that's the complete opposite of what I've researched and found.
Right.
You can-
So how we had the hurricane and they're picking up all this debris. They're saying, oh, put all your debris on the side of the road. We're gonna pick it up for you. This and this and that. So I'm like, well, you know what? I'm gonna pull a Trump on their ass real quick. Watch.
I'm gonna give you some debris.
I'm gonna give you some
Yeah.
debris. And my
Well,
wife
that was
looks
the
at
time to do it.
my wife looks at me. She's like, "Are you really?" I'm like, "They said I could."
Well, yeah, that's what it's for.
I was like,
Yeah.
"So I've been starting chopping down trees that didn't even need chopping down. I mean, they are coming down."
And
left and right.
he's got a section in his backyard he's been clearing out for a while.
Yeah,
So I'm
but
just
if
like,
you
if
think
they say
about it,
something,
it's
I'm
a
okay.
hazard. It's a hazard.
It is a hazard,
You know?
yeah.
I was like,
And
"Let
that's
them
what
come-"
it's for.
Yeah.
I was
Clear
like-
it, clean it up.
I was like, you go down my neighborhood and there's only like a few little limbs here. You pass by my house and it's like the whole thing. And I'm like, hey, you made the rules. You said you were
Yeah.
going to do it. So guess
Yeah.
what? I'm just going to take advantage of it. Don't come at me.
It's Tornado Leo that went through.
Yeah,
that's
for
all.
sure. You know,
Clearing up the
Yeah, so,
backyard.
I mean,
that's
Still,
all.
it's just less stuff that can next hurricane.
yeah,
that could,
for sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's like whenever they say, "Oh, well, your taxes this and your taxes that." Guess what, man? No, listen. You made the rule.
Right.
You wrote it down. You signed it. I was just following what you did.
That's
It's my
it.
bad.
That's it.
You know, don't come at me. Poor guy, man.
Yeah.
Didn't they just say they try to kill him again?
Who? Trump? Yeah,
Trump.
there was. Yeah, wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is total bullshit.
Yes, this
I'm not
this is
even
the
posting
sheriff
about
trying-
it.
This is a sheriff trying to look like a hero.
I'm not even no, it's not. I don't even think it's that.
Yes.
No,
that's what
I think
it
it's the
is.
fucking water because the sheriff is a Trumper. So's the guy they arrested.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah,
was
the
almost
guy-
like if you read the language of the sheriff, it was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
I'm here. I don't know why
Right.
I'm saying what I'm saying. It was just like,
yeah.
to me, I like couldn't even hold on to it. And then the more I hear about the guy they supposedly arrested,
He had
like he
been-
was literally had
he-
VIP tickets. To
He's
the
been
last,
to like
4
30.
rallies.
He's been to like 30 of Trump's.
Yeah.
He's been within like arm's reach of Trump
Yeah.
multiple
Seems
times.
very
I didn't even
bizarre.
have that on the list of
And
things to
We
talk
didn't even
about.
cover it
And
last night.
he was
either,
parking.
so.
He was gonna park in a parking
Yeah.
lot, a private parking lot. Like he'd still have to walk like a mile or two
Yeah.
to get to where he was gonna go to see Trump.
Steven,
And all the guns were staying in the trunk.
Yeah.
He's like, and they're like, well, what do you need to drive around with guns like that for? Well, who are you to tell me
Exactly.
what I need to be driving around with?
There you go. So something
Yeah.
ain't right.
see,
Something
I
right.
didn't even give him that much attention as much as you give Vince. I looked at it and I was just like,
I watched.
this guy's a
I
cat.
read a couple clips on it, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I was
there's
like-
not-
I
this
was
is
like,
not-
yeah, this guy's a cat. He's got 6 more to go.
I don't even know, like,
Shit, man.
like
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
Dang.
He's not going anywhere.
Got 6
Yeah.
more is the
Yeah.
tip to
I'm just
try to
saying.
get this guy.
Yeah. He ain't going. He ain't going nowhere. He's got to finish.
Oh,
his,
man.
he's got to finish his mission.
And you
first.
know what?
He's
I was
not-
talking
he's
to-
not-
hold on, I'm getting fact checked here because I
Uh-oh.
don't really know much about the story.
Okay.
Nah.
But Joanne at Binford Chronicle said that's BS.
Oh.
Democrat sheriff, did you hear what he said
Yeah.
about why the heck does someone have 2 weapons in his car?
Yeah.
That's what
So-
I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I didn't know. I heard that he was a Republican sheriff. He was a Trumper, but
no, I didn't hear that.
what was that? Arizona?
But everything
yeah.
I watched,
Yeah, like the Republicans aren't Republicans out there either, though.
everything I watched, it looked like the sheriff was just trying to make himself look good. He probably thought he was gonna, look like, oh, this guy helped save Trump.
Yeah.
I didn't even give him my attention because
I
that's
didn't
exactly
either.
what they
Yeah.
wanted.
I didn't either. Exactly. I was
Oh.
like, I didn't.
That's
even,
why I'm not like
Yeah.
we brought it up.
Yeah.
But it's,
Well, I know,
Yeah.
but I like to get deep into it. I just looked at it. I read the first sentence, and I was like, yep, okay.
And it's about what you consume, like we said
Yeah.
before.
I was
You-
just like,
it's,
whatever.
if you decide to put your focus on it, then that's what you're going to look into.
so
Right.
For sure.
Benford Joanne said Ven Miller, who is the guy they arrested, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
I had a screenshot of him on my desktop. I couldn't
He was
understand
on
why.
Stu Peters' show the other
Yeah,
night.
yeah. I
so-
guess he's an investigative journalist and he's covering the deep state.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So who knows? I mean, everybody's doing their
And-
own thing.
And he
know.
had 2
Yeah,
passports.
that's what
Was one
I
of the
heard,
reasons why they said he was suspicious because
Yeah.
he had 2 passports.
Yeah.
But he has a passport for Canada because he's a Canada citizen as
Okay.
well.
Oh wow.
So he had two legitimate passports.
Well, they're putting them into focus for a
Yeah.
reason. For some reason, who knows?
let me throw out some topics here real quick.
All right.
We've kind of already. Let me see if this works for us. I don't know. All right. So Milton, I was on vacation. You guys had a hurricane.
Freeze up. Is it frozen? up?
It's just our display over there
Okay,
that's
okay,
frozen.
Okay.
There was a tornado outbreak from this Hurricane Milton. FEMA's failure, not just here, but in North Carolina. And the conspiracy theories flying around. Well, I don't know if they're conspiracy theories, but weather modification and the Trump versus Harris debacle that's still going on. So we talked about, I don't know why that goes away, but we talked a little bit about Hurricane Milton.
Yeah.
We had a vacation booked and we were blessed that we already had this set up. So we had somewhere to go and I'm glad we went.
Yeah.
I wrote it out here a few times for lesser storms with the kids. And it's like, worst case scenario as a father goes through your head. And it's like,
Yeah,
I
for
can't
sure.
save them all.
No,
I can't do it.
Yeah,
I'm lucky
well,
if I can save myself.
exactly.
So we were lucky. We just took off a couple days early because one, we didn't want to get stuck in an exodus and not be able
Ruin
to
your vacation.
get
Yeah.
to our cabin that we've already paid $1,000 for
Yeah.
a year in advance.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's like, it was like, and we timed it just right because that day we left actually was traffic jam all the way up 75.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
And
But you said it stayed moving pretty good.
yeah, like I planned on taking 95 all the way up to Jacksonville
Right.
and then over to 75 on the I-10 that way.
Mhm.
But using Waze, by the time I got to Melbourne, it was telling me cut over to the beeline or whatever they call it now, over to 75. And I went, it was a lot of cars, but it was not stopped. It was not slowing down. It was
Mike,
Yeah.
going down the
Mike-
road. It was like during the day. almost.
Mike, there you go. They can call me whatever they want to call me. Hey, if your flag is red, please take the left
Yeah,
lane.
yeah, you get the fast lane.
I'm just, Mike,
Yeah.
Mike, we
The
live in the
carpool lane.
Mike, we live in the world now that we could do whatever we want to do. Okay, this is the game they want to play. They want to play this game. Might as well give it to
I
them.
love it.
Yeah.
That's
You
so
know?
funny. Oh my god.
You know, they
Yeah.
want to call a dictator this dictator. Okay. You want to call us that? You want to say that we're this? Okay, we'll give it to you, so that you could
So back to
Whatever.
it. We were lucky
I'm
enough.
bad,
We
man.
were able to go. We went and
fires me
spent
up, these people.
we went and spent a couple days in Chattanooga, and then we went
Did you
over
see
to
anything
Blue
while
Ridge.
you were up there? Did you see any like damage and stuff?
Trees
like that?
down, a lot of
Just
trees
a lot
down,
of trees
fences
stuff like
down. Ocala area, a lot of fences down.
that. Right.
Up in the Georgia area, some tree damage. Like there's some broken limbs,
Right. Crazy.
but 2 hours northeast, kind of total devastation.
Right.
Though.
Right.
You know,
You know
they're
what?
talking about.
Right.
Hold on, while we're on it. This is Hurricane Helen, and they're talking. I had it written down here. Over 300 dead is all they're saying,
That's it.
and they're talking way more than that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
People are saying they're when they come and walk the streets, they'll put like flags somewhere, and it represents a body, but they
Yeah.
can't find the body nowhere because it's buried
Right.
somewhere. But they
Yeah.
can smell it.
Yeah.
They know the smell of a dead human, and
Could you
they're
imagine
just and they're finding them in the trees, they're finding them buried in the mud. It's pretty freaking bad.
Yeah.
I've got a friend
A lot of the
that-
roads
that's doing a lot of
washed away.
that was working in the effort for relief up there, and they were talking on Twitter about FEMA stopping them and threatening their
yeah.
helicopter pilots with their licenses and
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that. A local guy here, Joe, I was hoping to try to get him on the show or at least feature him for Indian River Connections, but he's a local photographer. I don't care about his politics or nothing like that. I don't know if he's got any.
Yeah.
None that I can tell, but he's been running relief aid, like trucks up to the Asheville area.
Okay.
Mm.
And when this hit, he did a lot of work here. So he was
Okay.
just able to start making runs back up
Okay.
to North Carolina.
Okay.
So
Is that Joe Semcal?
Yeah, Joe Semcal,
Yeah, I
yeah.
met him before years ago.
I think he does photography.
Yeah,
I
he
really
does,
don't know
yeah.
what he does.
He
I
does.
just see his
Yeah, he
social
does,
media. And
yeah.
He does a lot of good. So
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Yeah.
he's a positive character.
Yeah.
And,
That's cool.
so there's a lot of people out there doing good, and FEMA's blocking them. But Hurricane Milton, there's 23 dead last I heard, 7 of them local to us, just south end of our county into the next county. There was 7 there.
Crazy there, huh?
Yeah,
Telling you,
it
man.
was 120 mile an hour winds we had.
Yeah.
I don't think we had the 120 mile an hour winds here, but the tornado obviously
Right.
that's different. You know.
Yeah.
But from the hurricane, 3.4 million power people without power. Obviously, the majority of them are back on now. But Helen, that was only a Cat 3 when it hit the Tampa Bay area,
Yeah.
and it hit earlier than was projected.
Yeah.
But thankfully, it slowed down. It wasn't a Cat 5 anymore. It was a Cat 3, where Helen was a Cat 4. And so far, like I said, they're claiming 300. We know
Yeah.
that number's probably not right.
Yeah.
You think somebody cranked it down just to make sure it wasn't going to hit a Cat 5?
Yeah, well, you never know.
Yeah. You never know.
They were saying, they were calling it
Yeah.
pretty much the whole time that it wasn't going to hit
Yeah.
at full power. But
Okay, so somebody knew.
yeah. So Katrina, how many dead do you think Katrina left behind?
We looked
It
it
was-
up last episode. It was
Did
a
we?
lot
I
more.
don't
It was like 1,200, wasn't it?
1,392.
Yeah.
I
5 million people lost power during Katrina.
Yeah.
Ian also was 156 dead.
But it's that time of year, though. Every 4 years.
You know,
So
you
out
get,
of-
you
you
get
know,
a little action, and
mentioned
people
the
just don't pay
scary part,
attention to
the
it.
scary part is, we weren't on the ugly side as far as the
Right.
windy side. If we were on the north side, it'd be a whole lot more devastation here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But
Surge.
being on the southeast side, kind of we get the tornadoes. So
Yeah.
this kind of broke records. Some people said some of these stayed on the ground longer. They're kind of breaking them up. One was suspected to be on the ground for 70 miles.
Yeah.
Wow.
And EF1, which would have been the longest land contact tornado for the record books, but they've since broken it up. But there's a couple other ones that are kind of like 50 miles or something like that, which is huge for a tornado.
Oh yeah, especially for Florida.
Yeah, and
that's the
Florida.
thing. That's the odd thing is that how it is in Florida.
Right.
You don't see that often.
No, they don't stay for
Not
very
like
long.
that. No,
You mentioned
this produced.
heard of.
You mentioned FEMA too. During Milton, before the storm hit, the governor said that they had to keep all the like waste stations so people could go get rid of stuff that could be harmful.
Oh yeah, he ordered them open. Yeah.
FEMA stepped in and was trying to force them to close, even though he had said they had to stay open, and
Really?
he had to step in.
Huh.
One good thing that DeSantis did,
Yeah.
during the storm.
He actually sent state guard to North Carolina. And these guys, I don't have video of them. I wanted to, but things been kind of hectic, obviously. But there was one of the guys from our state guard that was leading rescue missions in North Carolina and was constantly being blocked by FEMA every turn they could. And they kept getting questioned. This is what makes me proud to be Floridian. I wasn't on board with DeSantis, but I'm definitely glad we have him. I would be.
He's been a good governor.
I would be in favor of changing the law. Like, I don't know why they're only limited to 2 terms. If they're really doing good, they'll get elected for a third. Why not? But he sent this state guard up there, and what they were told to report was they were rescuing Floridians. There could be Floridians in there.
Gotcha.
So they're going in, and they're getting whoever in between.
Yeah.
That was just their excuse. And supposedly they were like the badasses in town. Like, FEMA, would put their hand on their guns, and, they wouldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So it makes you proud to be Floridian. Ever since he enacted the state guard, they're doing good for Florida.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier about FEMA, like getting on the helicopter pilots that were trying to help. There's a famous YouTuber, Cletus McFarlane. That's what he was doing with his helicopter. He was making trips. He did video where he was dropping off water, helping take people out. Well, the reason he stopped when he didn't come out and say it officially on video, but he kind of hinted towards it. It was FEMA. They were threatening him.
Wow.
Yeah. Back to Milton real quick. We can move on to FEMA because I got some video on that. Crazy thing. There was 45 reported tornadoes, but they've only investigated 26. 126 warnings across the state. This is the night before.
Yeah. My phone, the tornado warnings were going off.
Ridiculous.
Mine too. And I was
over
in
and
3
over
different
again.
states.
Yeah.
3 EF3s, one of them hitting Fort Pierce, 4 EF2s. I think there was 11 EF1s, and then there was 8 either zeros or unknown. But supposedly a lot of people think there was a lot more than that.
I think some people said there was a 4 too, an EF4 too. It was a little higher.
Yeah.
If they mentioned that, but
I wouldn't doubt it. I don't have the video, but I was Dennis Michael Lynch. If you follow him on X, he's got video. He lives in the area, and he was recording that tornado that went across Spanish Lakes and Port St. Lucie and Fort Pierce. So I urge anybody, if you want to help out any of these devastated areas, find a local church. Even if you're long distance, reach out to someone local, and we can point you in the right direction. Stay away from the Red Cross. These people make
believe me,
freaking salaries. And it's global, and it's not. They don't have your best interest.
So Red Cross is, again, just
you have experience with
I
it.
do. I work
business.
for the Salvation Army for 10 years, and so I understand the whole disaster relief thing. I was involved in it tremendously for years and years of just going to different parts of the state when it would happen. But the Red Cross is more funded, government funded. So it's another money laundering type of scenario where you think they're good, but they're really not. What's good is bad, and what's bad is good. Salvation Army, similar, but it's run like a corporation as well. The only difference with the Salvation Army is that they're a church first and foremost, so they'll help anybody. So they're about giving away and giving and helping. You don't have to join the congregation to be a part of the Salvation Army. So they will help you.
What church are they?
They're
I thought this was interesting.
Non-denominational church.
Okay, I thought they were part of I'll have to find what I've read before.
Yeah,
But okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's non-denominational. They don't make you, join the.
And it's not like they don't do any good, but
No.
you-
Well,
the majority,
they do the most good.
but the majority of your money,
slogan.
the majority of your money is getting filtered.
It stays local,
filtered out.
Where Red Cross, a lot of the money doesn't stay local.
Right.
It's more funneled out. The Clinton Foundation. The Clinton Foundation was part of the Red Cross. So when they did the whole Haiti thing, the Clinton Foundation went down there and supposedly helped get these kids. The Red Cross is involved too. So you have to be concerned. And then every time there's a disaster, pay attention to the televised of your vision, because at the bottom you'll always see the Red Cross. You'll never see the Salvation Army. So the Salvation Army doesn't like pounce on those disasters where the Red Cross does. You know what I'm saying? So there's something nefarious about that as well. So yeah, I wouldn't give any money to the Red Cross. Do locally, like you said. You got to stay local. Yeah.
I don't know what just happened with my displays, but they all switched.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Now we got the big screen now. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was at my mom's earlier today, and she said, I heard that they ran out of money and they're not going to help out people around here.
It's getting everybody.
And I was like, you know what, Mom? Yeah, you're right. I was like, this is what happened.
This is it.
This is,
and you tell them, it's
and she's
all
looking at me like, you're just messing with me because you're a jokester. I'm like, no, it's the truth. I'm like, yeah, they're not going to give you anything, Mom.
Yeah.
She's like, no way. I'm like, yeah. I was like, the president that's there now said no because he ran out of money. He's like, well,
yeah.
What do you mean? I'm like, yeah.
Well, your mom, like us, we were out without power for 5 days, I believe.
Yeah.
And we lost everything in our freezer and refrigerator. My parents stayed here. I don't think they'll do that again. But
she went and yelled at one of the guys that was working there. She told me today. She's
your
like,
mom?
Yeah.
At the FEMA?
No, one of the guys. She didn't know if I was like, well, was he one of the linemen or one of the tree guys or whatever? She's like, I don't know. I was just so frustrated because he was set. There was 2 trucks. She's like,
she got power yet?
And the other day,
oh, okay.
I think it was yesterday.
Same day we did then, yeah.
She was like, they sat out there for 6 hours. She's like, I watched them. I was like, Mom, maybe they were on their break or maybe they worked the night before. She's like, no. She's like, no. They weren't breaking the way. She's like, if you were on your break, would you be on your phone, hanging out, chit-chatting? She's like, you would be breaking. You would be tired. You'd be resting. She's like, they weren't resting. She's like, so I walked over there and I told them, hey, I haven't had lights and da-da-da-da-da. And there's trees in the back, all broke. And this, she's like, 30 minutes later, here comes another truck. She's like, I had lights. I was like,
it worked.
I was like, whatever, Mom. I'm like, I don't know, but whatever.
You should have yelled at him 6 days earlier.
Out of 3 generators,
I was just
only one of ours would work.
Really?
I was just like,
Yeah.
My father was trying to lug them back and forth to keep stuff, the refrigerators and freezers running, but
it becomes a nightmare after a while when you have that situation.
Yeah.
You're trying to save the food and all, and you just end up losing it.
yeah, that's why I told my mom, I was like, I don't know, Mom. I was like, they could have been on their break. They could have been working all night long, Mom. How do you know? You don't know. Wow, they were just hanging out. I'm like,
see, FEMA was designed to be able to do the things that you're saying that your mom expects them to do. Is to come in, give you the money to recoup the food that you lost.
Right.
Anything that you need, we're there for you until you can, go to your insurance.
Right.
And get and even if you need housing, all those people lost their homes.
Yeah,
they need somewhere to sleep. Well, the insurance company's just not going to cut them a check right away and put them in a hotel. You got to go figure out what you can do.
If they had insurance.
Yeah, if they had insurance,
there was insurance
so
involved.
FEMA's supposed to come in and do that for you. I mean, FEMA, back in Hurricane Francis and Jean, they were cutting people, good sized checks then to help people out. But now they don't do that because they don't have the money, and it's all on purpose. And so your mom's seeing that is what the people need to see. It's like, what are they doing with our money? They're not helping nobody.
Well, I mean, there's this. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
It's being shipped out to somewhere else.
Again, let me figure out where it's at here. Let's see if this works.
Let me guess.
But see, they spend so much money trying to do these investigations.
FEMA is tremendously prepared. This is what we do. This is what they do. And the key here, Rebecca, is also to make sure that the communities who are potentially impacted are prepared as well. And it's not just hurricanes and wildfires, also extreme heat, which certainly some parts of the United States are already experiencing.
Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is sounding the alarm on FEMA funding right after the devastation of Hurricane Helene. Listen.
We are meeting the immediate needs, with the money that we have. We are expecting another hurricane hitting. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season.
This all comes as the Biden-Harris administration spent over $1 billion from a FEMA program on services for migrants. Attorney General of the great state of Florida, Ashley Moody, joins me now. AG Moody.
FEMA is tremendous.
Yeah, and they're using a lot of it to send. I don't know if you played it because I couldn't hear it, but they're using a lot of it for airline tickets to disperse
Ship them out. Yeah.
these immigrants, these criminal aliens that have court dates. They just send them, and they have to report somewhere.
See, remember, they've always been doing this. That's the thing that we have to realize is they've always been doing this until Trump came along, and then they were like, oh, we can't do it as much anymore. Like this is not good. But even before that, Obama, I mean, they were doing this for so long, and then they would tell you that they weren't doing it. They would tell you the opposite. They would give you that where they put the veil over your eyes and they tell you like, no, the border's fine, we're good, everything's good. But they were just letting them in, and they would fly them around the country, and exactly what they're doing now, the same exact thing, except now you see it. They're telling you what they're doing.
If the media doesn't put what's going on the border out there for us, whether it's online, TV, whatever, we're in Florida. We're not going to know what's going on at the border.
Absolutely not. Why would you?
So,
and that's why it's
Trump
happened.
brought light to it.
Exactly. That's why it's happened in New York and all these cities like California and everything, because people didn't notice it in New York before because it's a melting pot anyway.
Right.
So they were dropping people off in New York now. Now it's polarized to where people are starting to say, wait a minute, like this doesn't make any sense. They're putting them up in hotels and now they're noticing it and they're like, we're getting
They're in a hotel. They got an iPhone. They're wearing Puma shirts and like brand name stuff.
Exactly.
Yep.
So
maybe I should leave this country.
You know
come
what? It's
back with a different
odd
name.
because
maybe
you remember
just still keep my house here.
I would
do you
do it, but
remember,
I
though?
can't speak Spanish. You could at least pull it off.
Do you remember when these
Don't
big
know how to
brands
English.
came
I
under
can't pull it
fire
off.
for destroying their stuff?
Yeah.
So it wasn't dispersed and devalued.
exactly. Yeah.
Now it's almost
That's-
like they're shipped up to the WEF and
Yep.
then they're dispersed to
It's all
migrating criminal aliens across the globe. But
It's all on purpose.
Joanne says it's going to illegal immigrants. Yep, you're damn right it is. I sent her a link. If she wants to step in, she's more than welcome to. So that was Mayorkas. He is
He's the Department of Homeland Security.
Homeland Security,
Exactly.
which
So it's another
was a
paycheck he's
farce.
getting
You
too.
know?
And so remember, and then when you look at that, like he's the director of Homeland Security, so he's supposed to secure the homeland. Well, what is he doing?
What is he doing?
He's doing the complete opposite. Just like everything else, everything's
Yeah.
backwards. Everything's like even the names of their positions
He's
are backwards.
deconstructing our security.
Exactly.
And-
He's doing the
And,
opposite.
he's just part
He's
of
literally-
the system that's doing this. I mean,
all of
they
them,
put him in place because he would play ball.
like 100%.
That's what why
100%.
politicians don't like Donald Trump. That's why there's Republican politicians that do not like Donald Trump, because it takes money out of politicians' pockets.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they're not.
They're not in it for the good of the country. They're in it for the make.
And I hope
money.
Oh, for
he gets
sure.
in office this time, I hope he cuts back a lot of the funding on the government.
Oh, it's 100% going to happen. Absolutely.
Well, he's FEMA.
FEMA. They're outside here.
You're right.
Sabotaging.
Got it.
You guys are talking about us. You got to shut them down.
Got
Oh,
him.
that's funny.
back
That's
over
so
here.
just but I mean,
Vin-
you know,
Vince, we're laughing about it, but watch, they could be true.
yeah, they're here. You know they are.
You know,
They're definitely around the corner somewhere.
They're in this town.
They're definitely in Florida right now.
they're denying. Oh, did you have a red roof or a blue roof? Okay, you're good to go.
Red
That
or
just-
blue roof.
that
That's a good one.
That
too.
just
You
made
know?
me think of the whole thing in Hawaii.
Yeah, the blue
Oh
roof.
my God.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yep. Red and blue. Yeah,
All
that's
right.
true.
I think I got our
It's-
situation.
you
taken
know.
care of.
That's good.
It's right
Yeah,
there.
so,
Vince.
I
It's
mean-
right in our eyes, man.
Well,
They tell you literally.
I was on. I two guys in one coop. Dale and Jim introduced me to the network the other day on their show, which is I think, don't quote me, Mondays and Wednesdays at 10:30 in the morning.
I
on
watched
Rumble
it.
and
I was laughing. They kind of they called you out and said you were a chicken running from the hurricane.
Did they really?
I was laughing. That was funny.
They thought I evacuated.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
He's like, no, I already had a vacation. I was already coming.
Yeah, you already had this plan for a year.
It was funny. It
You
was
knew
funny.
the hurricane was coming a year ago. You know, you were tapping into the geoengineering.
Yeah.
You're the one.
already. Yeah.
You're the one that was over there, you know, moving them knobs.
Here
around
he
to see
is
what was
telling
gonna
us
go
it's
on.
FEMA. It's been Mike all along.
Yeah, right. But
That's
we
funny.
were talking about that, and I don't know if it was on air before we went on live, but the Patriot Act and how we were sold the bill on the Patriot Act, thinking that it was going to make us safer, and obviously it did the complete opposite. So, you know, and you think the Department of Homeland Security was supposed to tie everything together after that, where these agencies would communicate. Well, that really wasn't the best idea, because they're still all running their own shadow campaigns anyways.
Right.
Yeah, it looked like some kind of ant
Yeah,
crawling on there.
yeah,
Wants to be on the show.
yeah, right.
But yeah, so I don't think, you know, think about this. The Homeland Security covers the Coast Guard, which isn't a military branch on its own anymore. I mean, it is, but it's not under the Department of Defense.
Nope.
It's under the Department of Homeland Security. The Secret Service, Department of Treasury, these all used to be separate. Like Secret Service used to be underneath the Department of Treasury, and they had their own budget, you know, and it was probably a black budget like the Department of Defense gets.
Right.
But now it's like we saw in Pennsylvania when they shot Trump. You saw all the B actors, you know, the holding their guns, pointing the guns in the crowd and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They weren't even Secret Service agents. They're Department of Homeland Security investigators.
Yeah.
They're armed. They're law enforcement officials, but they're not personal detail,
No.
high profile detail. And that's the problem. And, you know, they've already got him to alter his, you know, campaigning schedule and their style and stuff like that. So, you know, assassination attempt after assassination attempt. But the weather warfare, you
That is
mentioned the
just
weather
funny.
warfare, though.
Mm.
We still have quite a bit of time, but the weather warfare is kind of interesting. What do you know about that? I know you guys talked about it on your last episode.
Yeah.
What did you learn getting ready for that episode that you can share with us?
I mean, what I see with it is again, it's always geoengineering. So they're engineering these storms and the atmosphere. They're always messing with everything. So people call it climate change, and the climate does change, but at the same time, they're seeding clouds. They're spraying in the sky all the time. People are paying attention to that too. You can call it contrails all you want, but it's they're spraying chemicals and they're putting it in the air for that specific reason. When you pay attention to it, you'll see if it's a beautiful day one day, the next day they'll start spraying, they'll spray again, and then it'll start to rain like the following day, or a cold front will come in,
or they have those nice low waves.
Yes, yeah, because that's
the chem cloud.
well, that's part of it, because
You know?
it's electromagnetism. So when they push the EMF waves into the clouds, you can see the waves happening. So that's what makes the weather change. So, for example, this whole thing with these tornadoes. I mean, I called it right before. I was like, they're messing with the weather. There's no way that they would have these tornadoes pop up so soon before a hurricane, when the hurricane was in the Gulf. It wasn't even on the shore of Tampa when we got hit with those tornadoes. So that doesn't make any sense for the 40 years that I've lived here. I've never seen anything like that. So how did they possibly do that? Were they able to change the weather and to make the heat get so hot, and then the cool air go in and go up into the tornado and then start the whole process?
We've had members of the government that have come out and said that the government has been trying to weaponize the weather since at least the 40s.
It was the late 40s, early 50s, because LBJ said it, whoever controls the weather controls the world.
Right. So
you can do that on purpose.
Since then, they've had a project where that's all they work on, is figuring out how they can steer storms, how they can strengthen them, weaken them. They've been at it since the 40s. You don't think they've gotten somewhere with it in all this time?
Exactly. And so then we're, like Leo says, we're at a point now where we're so close to an election. We're at war. We're in a war within. There's an enemy within that we're at war.
We're at a civil war.
Exactly.
It's just not gunfire.
It's not televised. Yeah, it's not gunfire. Exactly. I watched the movie The Patriot the other day, and I was watching. I'm thinking, this is the same thing as what they're saying back then when they were fighting outside your house with their muskets, and at the end of the night, everybody go get better, fix their wounds, and start the next day. Well, this is the same thing. It was like planes flying over the state of Florida, dropping bombs. Those tornadoes were like bombs.
Right.
So it's no different than if we were attacked from above. They just use the weapon of warfare as the weather.
All right.
That's it.
We're fighting the system, and unfortunately, about half of us are attached to or are tricked by the system.
Yep.
So we're fighting ourselves against.
Yeah.
We're already divided against ourselves in the system, and then you got the system
Exactly,
too.
because some people don't want to believe that we're under attack, and like that was done on purpose. Like, what do you mean they started tornadoes in our state on purpose? Well, the only way you'd be able to do is either you're going to drop bombs on the state, or you're going to use the weather to do it and just blame it on the weather and go, "Oh, your house blew away." But it looks like a war zone. It looks like a bomb went off. So it looks the same thing as anything else that would be in a war zone. See? And that's
Pretty freaking bad.
It is bad.
The conspiracy in the Carolinas is that the lithium. There's
The
lithium in the
lithium
mountains.
mines, yeah, because it's always for something. There's always a reason, just like when they go to war. When we went to Afghanistan, it was for the poppy seeds for the heroin. So that's what that was for. They protected the poppy seed the plantation, so they were protected. So our troops were protecting those. They seized them and protected them, and that was all by design too. So the CIA was importing heroin into our country, just like they're letting the fentanyl over the border. Mayorkas says he should go to prison for that. That's treason. You're letting poison coming over our border. I mean, that's insane.
Killing people.
They've tried to impeach him.
Yeah,
like I don't know how many times.
Exactly.
He's still there.
He's still there. Like it's like, oh, okay. Like we were saying before, like how does he keep his job? He should be scared to death of us.
Right.
We're talking about it and saying this guy committed treason. He should be like, oh shit! Like the people are waking up. Like I gotta do something, or maybe go to one of those bunkers under the ground, and go hide because I'm screwed. Because the people see what I'm doing. I'm letting the people in the country. I'm letting the fentanyl in the country. I'm letting it happen on purpose, and they see it. I'm in big trouble, but they don't see that because they're always protected. That's why. It's
they think Trump's got hush money.
Shit. You can't buy him off. That's the thing. That's why they hate him, because they can't buy him, so they hate him for it. They hate him, and they.
I've even told them I don't even like Trump. I can't fucking stand his ass. Just his voice, I just cannot stand.
But the one thing, Leo, is that
I like his message.
Yeah, but if
just close my eyes and let me just open my ears.
But if you go down the rabbit holes like you do with him, and you find out the things that he's done, I'm not defending him or anything like that, but you find out the things that he's done in his life, helping people, the heart that he has a good heart.
Yeah.
He actually is a good person, but they made him out to be such a bad person that you just gotta hate you just want to hate him because of that. Right. But if you really do the research on him, like I did in the past, you'll see things and you'll start to realize, like, wow, this guy's actually doing the best that he can for what he needs to do, because he appreciates what the country gave him. And he does.
I actually sent you to a video I came across. I've seen it before, but where they're interviewing Trump over 40 years ago. I think he was 33 or 34. Something like 34.
Yeah.
And I watched the video. I mean, it was a good, 3-4 minute interview, and everything he said was spot on today.
Of course.
Like they asked him if he would want to be president, and he said no, because it seems like it would be kind of a horrible life. Like, everybody, people are out to get you. It's just not a good life to live. Talking about, what the problem is. We just have the wrong people running.
Yeah.
Everything he said 40 years ago, 100% today, 100% still true.
And that's why people are flipping to support him, is because they're doing the research and they're watching those videos and they're going, he's saying the same thing then that he's saying now, but now he's putting himself in the line of fire. And why is he doing that? Why is he putting himself in that jeopardy?
And I've seen something where he said the reason i've done it is because all this time nobody else has stepped in that's been able to
do it.
That's willing to do what it takes.
You're right.
To try to break the system or fix the system. At least.
And then what I also like, that he picked Vance.
Yeah.
Because he's my age, close to my age.
Yeah, you want somebody that's you can relate to.
He understands me, and I understand him.
Yep.
And he could probably think what I'm thinking, and he could probably, so I mean, I'm not gonna have his bank account, but he could. We could understand, he could probably listen to the same music that I listen to. We could communicate, not versus have somebody old that I don't know who we have up there. Okay, Trump's old, but he still has that older mindset, and he still tries to, communicate with the younger crowd and stuff like that, and be like, okay, this is what I'm telling you, what is working, and what worked for me to where I'm at now is where I'm trying to get you as well.
Yeah.
You know, and
And
I
you
think
want-
he did a good choice picking somebody that's young like
and
that.
you want
that
some
brings
kind of a
good
path
tech-
for the future.
For
You
sure.
want something that's going to show some hope for down the road, because of course Trump is not going to, he's not going to take us into that new millennium, into that new world.
Right.
He's going to get us there. He's going to open the door, and the people are going to walk through the door and go, wow, we could have done this all this time. We could have got rid of taxes. We could have got rid of the IRS.
Right.
We could have got rid of the Federal Reserve. We could have done that all that time.
FICA was
and I
supposed
like-
to be temporary.
Yeah.
It was never intended to be a permanent thing.
100%. So that point is that you have to have somebody who's going to take that mold and lead
Right.
the people through the door. So you want to have hope in that.
Oh yeah,
and he's going to get us.
and I
there.
can see. Oh yeah, and I can see it because I can like read his bubble. Literally, I can like read his bubble on top. Like he can literally read it. Like, okay, I'm gonna win this president. It's gonna run it for 4 years, and then I'm gonna hand it right over to my next guy,
Yep.
and then he's gonna run it for another 8 years.
Yep.
So I mean,
Yeah.
come on, we
Yeah.
got what
That's
12
the
years.
plan.
You know,
That's what
like
has to
that's the
come
happen.
on, guys,
plan.
like open your eyes. Like it's right
Hopefully
there.
Vance is the
12
right
years.
guy.
12 years.
Even if-
12 years of just ching ching ching.
Even if he isn't the right guy,
You know?
there's somebody who's going to emerge.
Oh yeah, for
it's
sure.
going to come from
Somebody,
And-
sure.
yeah.
and-
somebody's going to emerge. You're going to be like,
sure.
holy shit, this guy's the guy.
And the
Yeah,
other
I think
key,
we
the
already
other key
know.
to fixing the problem too is we need to see Democratic candidates that are still putting the people first too, because there are some out there that are up and coming.
Yeah.
I know you've brought some of them up, Mike. I don't know all their names, but there's some decent Democrat candidates that support what Trump's doing.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Tulsi Gabbard. And,
We need
Joe
people.
Manchin
We
and
need
stuff
people like that
yeah.
on the Democratic side, because to think that the Republican side's going to keep winning the election every time, it's not going to
Not going to
happen.
happen. No.
History shows you. Until recently, it was 8 years. Then you switched Democrat 8 years, Republican 8 years.
Yep.
It went on that way for pretty much just
Your
about
whole
my
life,
whole life.
100%. Yeah.
So that's what we're going to see in the future. So it's not just, yes, we need to have somebody to hopefully win after Trump and take it for another 8 years, but we need Democratic side to have people that are going to be honest with us too.
Well, because that's what's happening is that side, the Democratic side, or that liberal, more far left side, is going to crumble at some point. Because like what Lee always says about the red flag and the blue flag and the red roof and the two sides, eventually one side has to collapse.
Oh yeah, for
and
sure.
then you have to become one side.
Yeah.
There's got, and I always say there's got to be like a patriot party or a
Oh,
unity party of some sort, to where, because what you just said it answers it all perfectly. It flip flopped every 8 years, Republican, Democrat. But remember, that was two sides of the same coin. It was
Yep.
the same shit.
Same.
Right. It was just little differences.
They
It wasn't. If a Democratic president or Republican president was in office most of my life, it didn't matter. It didn't affect me.
Exactly. So that's where you
It
realize
was-
that
Now it does.
that doesn't work anymore. So then you go, this doesn't work
Well-
anymore. Both of the sides stink. So they're only changing the color of the tie. That's
That's
it.
right.
That's all they're
That's
doing.
it. That's
So
it.
so we need to make a new party, which would be the Patriot Party, the People's
Right.
Party, like you said in the Revolutionary War. You got to find a side. You got to pick a side, and then you build a new way of doing things. You get rid
Right.
of the money system. You get rid of the
Yeah.
taxes. You tariff. You do the tariffs. You make them, what Trump says, making the country wealthy again. He means that. We're
Right.
going to go into a golden age, because it'll be the point where we won't be getting raped all the time. Every time we turn around, we're like, oh, here, I got to pay this. Oh, here we go. I got to pay this.
Right.
I got to pay this.
Everything's a fee.
Everything's a fee. Because I used to say it used to be land of the fee, home of
Yeah.
the slave, because
Yeah.
that's the reality of it. We're all slaves, like we talked
That's
about.
what we've
Yeah.
turned into.
We've turned into, because of the money system, because of the Federal Reserve,
Yeah.
because of the way we're taxed, because of the way we're screwed. Trump knows that. He beat the system doing
he
that.
beat the system.
He
doing
did it by beating it.
and
by
they're
taxes.
upset that he
They're
did
upset
it.
because, like you said before, it was their laws
Yes,
that he
and they're
beat
upset.
because he learned how to do it. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, guys,
Yes.
go down and research Trump and Roy Cohen, his lawyer. His lawyer is what taught him how to
Yeah.
beat the system and how to
Beat-
get
yeah, man,
information.
you beat the
That guy
system,
was
man.
the devil in disguise. He
Yeah.
he learned from the devil.
Michael Cohen?
Roy
or
Cohen.
Roy
No, Roy
Cohen?
Cohen. This guy's dead.
Is it relation to
No,
Michael Cohen?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
This guy was a lawyer in New York. That when you see the picture of the guy, you're gonna go, "That guy's the devil."
Lunatic. I think I've seen it before. I
he's-
think I've been down
He's
that
one
rabbit hole before.
ugly son
Oh,
of a gun.
yeah.
But if you,
Mike's pulling him up
but
now.
if you, Roy Cohen is his name. He's
Oh, yeah, I think I've
Trump's,
seen it.
Trump's attorney.
I think I've seen
There
a
he
picture.
is.
Yep,
There he
it
is. Yeah.
I think I've seen a picture on,
Oh,
on
yeah.
one of his documentaries.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody
Oh,
Go,
mentioned
go,
something
go to
about
the
him.
go to the video. Go, I mean, go to images. when you Google him, go to images and
No,
find a good image of him.
But he's good though, man. Like he had a great.
Look at that guy.
He
Look at those pictures.
He
And
had
tell me that ain't the devil in disguise.
He had a great leader.
Look at those eyes.
Look at that one picture.
Look at those eyes. Look at those faces. Guys, I did the research. I went down the rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah.
This is how he learned how to beat the system and how to get information. That's why he knows who was at Epstein Island. That's why he never went to Epstein Island, because he knew what the fuck they were doing there. And that's why, because Roy Cohen showed him how to get the information to know who the players are and who the sick son of a guns are.
I wonder if he knew Cat Williams too.
I don't know. I'm telling you.
Because that's how Cat Williams was discovering all these
information.
all this information.
Remember Cat Williams said, I'll buy that. I'll take it. Come talk to me. I'll take that. Because he was collecting information. But at the same time, he was on the other side of the red velvet rope. So he saw what was going on. But you have to pick a side. You either go all the way in with the devil or you go on the other side. You go on God's side. And that's exactly what was happening. That's what Trump did. That's why I believe that's why they hate him, because they loved him before, because he was on the goods, he was on their side, wearing the purple tie. He shows that he's part of them, and then eventually he went.
They all have a symbol.
He didn't show up to the party. He wasn't at the after party.
They couldn't get the white whale. They couldn't get him. They tried to get him, and they just couldn't get him.
And I think that all comes from Hoover, the former FBI director. He kept files on
everybody. Exactly.
This dude was the cross-dresser.
Exactly.
This dude was flaming as flaming could be when he was off work. But he had a file cabinet on every politician.
This is before internet.
And I'm talking every politician, every union boss, every union leader, everybody. Herbert Hoover had a freaking file on everybody.
And I think that Roy Cohen guy had a file on everybody too. And he showed Trump them files. And Trump was like, oh shit, this is how you do it? And that's why he's got buildings all over that have his name on them. And Biden has nothing. And Kamala has nothing. And they all have nothing. And he has that. Because he learned how to beat the system. That's what he did. That's why they wanted his tax returns.
They have nothing. That's why they asked Americans to keep giving them more so that they can get
so Trump
more
knows it. And that's why the 4 years that he was president, he showed you how he could beat the system and actually make it halfway decent to where you could actually open a business, you could actually make a living in just 4 years. Imagine what he could do when he gets in there now, and he could collapse the Federal Reserve and get rid of the IRS and then get rid of the CIA.
I can already see it. Like as soon as he gets in there, he's just gonna fix his tie. And we're like, hey, right where we left off.
Because he knows who
literally right where
he's
we left off.
He's going to do more good in day one of being office than Biden did in 4 years.
For sure.
Yeah.
He'll open the pipeline with the swipe of a pen. He'll shut the border down with a swipe of a pen, all in one day.
And the only reason why it'll be that much easier, that's why he says it'll happen so quick, is because he knows who the evil players are. So he knows how to weed them all out eventually. That's why they're all getting scared, because he knows them. See, everybody used to say, like, when he was in there, he had this guy in his cabinet. He shouldn't have had this guy. He's a swamper. No, he did it to get him close to him so that he could go, oh, yeah, this. He already knew because he had files on all them, too. Remember that
information.
So
he knows. Guy's been talking to this guy. I'm gonna hire you because I need something from that guy.
Exactly. So then he would just keep them close to him and go, "Yeah, this guy's a swamp creature, but I need to find out what he's doing."
He knows which way the dominoes will fall.
Exactly. So he knew that going in. So he didn't make the mistakes that people say he made. He brought people closer to him so that he could get them to expose themselves. Just like he did with Fauci, the same thing.
And then they got upset whenever he said, "Hey, you're fired. I don't need you anymore."
Exactly. When he fired Cohen, when he got rid of Cohen, they were like, "Oh my god!" Like
all of a sudden they're all upset.
They all freaked out. Like, he can't do that. He can't fire the FBI agent.
The
FBI head. Like the hell, I can't. I can fire him.
I just did.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It is. If you watch that movie Comey Rule that was on HBO, they make Trump out to be this big goof oaf that Comey's like trying to do the right thing and he's all the good guy. It's so pathetic when you watch it, and you just look at it and go, "Wow, they really went all in on this to really make Trump look like this big fucking idiot." But it's not even close to the truth.
My thing is, there's people out there that will look at it and literally will be drooling and be like,
because they'll because of the way they put because of the way they put.
Can't believe that.
Well, they have to believe, because they make the Comey guy look out to be this, that he's like this fucking Leave It to Beaver guy. that he's such a good guy and he's a wholesome father, and his daughters loves Hillary and all these things, and they're like, how could you do this to Hillary? You can't release those emails. The way they make it out to be, they make him look like he's this wonderful wholesome guy, and he's not. He's a total piece of shit.
Right.
And then Trump knew that, and he had the file on him, and so that's why they make the movie, to make him out look like he's a good guy and make Trump look like he's a big bad guy, the big goof. And it's so obvious when you watch these things, and it's because it's on the TV.
So
People won't believe it.
I want to share something real quick. This is the electoral map as it sits right now, I believe, as of this morning. I've seen different numbers come across today that put Trump. Well, this one is showing Trump ahead right now.
Most of my see them, they're like head to head.
Yeah, but they're like, I don't understand how they get the percentage different than what they've got as far as locked in. Right now, these are the gray states you see on the screen are toss-ups.
What does that mean?
So we don't know where they're going to go.
Yeah.
You know, they say Nevada, who knows? Arizona, who knows? Michigan, Wisconsin.
So Pennsylvania's up in the air.
Yeah.
Wow. Georgia.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though. Pennsylvania, let's see. This one is if Pennsylvania, Georgia.
What kills
over
kills
here. This is
Atlanta.
the whole, like, the steel beltway.
You're
right here.
100%.
Manufacturing right here. And this is without Nevada and Arizona. Or New Mexico and Arizona, and that's got Trump at 279. I think this one. Oh wait, this was from Real Clear Politics. You can see they have the same toss-ups there, but
with Georgia and North Carolina both being, undecided as it shows, you would think with what's been going on up there since FEMA's been up there, all the bullshit that's going on up there, you would think they would want change.
100%. No, you're right.
Hopefully, like the Carolinas and they get it. Hopefully they can get out and vote.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're still alive, and hopefully they can get out and vote.
Did Biden or Harris ever even go to North Carolina yet? Finally,
I think they toured via helicopter.
I know Trump was there within
the one guy from the Florida State Guard. He's got a lot of friends in active duty and still in military. And one of his buddies reached out to him and he said they loaded a C-130 full of supplies, a broken down C-130 full of supplies, knowing it was not going to leave the ground for a photo op. Then they ended up moving it from one C-130 to another C-130.
The waste of money again.
That ended up being the one to leave the ground and go drop off supplies somewhere. But he said that the people that he knew on the ground were just sick to their stomach. Here they are on American soil. And what they could have done, like they have a large military presence in North Carolina. I think it's Fort Bragg or something like that. Or the 108th Airborne. They could have unleashed a lot of help immediately, but they didn't. They continued on with their deployment to the Middle East.
Mike, they could have said, we are America, and we'll stand up the next day that anything happens to us, But no, we're not. We just let it. There you go. We just let them crumble our homes, our lives, and everything. So what? So during elections, they could say, "Oh well, they gave me $150 or whatever they did, so I'm gonna go ahead and vote for them."
Give me $150.
Come on, guys.
Meanwhile,
let's
they're sending
be real
billions
and let's open our eyes
to Ukraine
for sure.
Yeah, and I think that money's all been tracked, and I think that eventually is going to come back to us. I truly believe that. I think that all that money they've sent to Ukraine, all the people that see that, and they're realizing how much of a crock of crap that is, I think eventually that's all been laundered. It's going to come back to us at some point. I really believe that because there's no way that they'll get away with this. There's no way. There's no way. Some way that this is going to come to an end and justice is going to be served. That's what I see.
Speaking of coming to an end, I hate to cut us off short because it's always a good episode when we got you here with us, John.
Yeah, it's a good time. Thank you guys.
The network does have two sponsors, I believe. There's a Miracle Health. I'm doing them justice. I don't have their trailer in our studio yet. Okay. But for the people watching at home, I apologize. I know the TrumpToken.com is one of the network sponsors, and so is the Miracle Health Healing thing. Right. We'll get all that squared away.
No, this is great.
Once we get settled in at home. So I also want to share our website. We talk about where you can follow us. Our website's IndianRiverConnections.com.
That looks good.
It's branded after a local collaboration we do with TGI Now and Benford Chronicles and other people in the community So check it out. It's IndianRiverConnections.com. We also sell merch. Each podcast has their own merch that could help support what we do.
Yep.
I don't know.
We got to get a nice sponsor right there on the top. We're going to get somebody there.
Yeah, we're working on that.
Yep. Yeah,
Let's see. Hopefully they can see this at home, but you can check our trailer out there.
Yep.
There's bios on all of us.
Yep.
I don't know if all your guys know, John. You're on TGI now with Eddie and Rondell. So I believe they all have bios on there. Also,
yeah, you did a great job with it.
Joanne Binford, you can follow her on there. You can right now. She was going to step in with us, but she's actually out in Colorado. Her daughter's having important surgery done, and she's there to take care of her daughter. She's usually here in Florida with us. Rondell, we got to work on Rondell's.
Yeah, we will. Yeah,
but cool. You could also be on this page too if you're a small creator or any kind of creator, and you want a platform to reach.
Yep.
Indian River Connections could be the place for you, and who knows, there's always opportunities out there like we found with the Patriot Prayer Network, who has way bigger platform than we did alone. And we're fortunate to be there. I wish I could do their sponsors justice because I know they put a lot into it, but
we'll get those.
Yeah. As far as our sponsors, it's pretty much my pressure washing business that takes care of anything that costs money, but definitely give us a shout out. Check us out on Facebook, Rumble, X,
sure.
Where else? So you're on Instagram, Leo at Leonzo06.
Yep.
Or is it M Leonzo06?
Leonzo
M06.
M06
on Instagram. John, where can they find you guys?
We're on. I'm on X with the TGI Now podcast, so it's at TGI Now podcast, and then we're on Rumble as well, TGI Now podcast, and then Facebook. Facebook is our biggest platform for followers on there, and then Instagram as well. But Rumble, we're on the Rumble page is growing a little bit. We're getting some more followers.
It's hard, man.
It is.
That's why I was willing and eager to do what we're doing with PPN because Rumble's a hard platform to grow on. It's hard to get people to click that subscribe.
It is. Oh, I've noticed that.
They watch.
Yeah,
They're there.
Oh, they'll watch
to get people.
Yeah, they don't want to subscribe anyway because a lot of people still don't know about Rumble. So I mean, I hear that all the time when I'm out and about. I was like, you got to get on Rumble. Like, what's Rumble? So I mean, I'm glad we're on there when we got on there, but we need to grow.
For a lot of people, it's still a secondary.
It is. They still go to YouTube, which I get. I understand.
My feedback to Rumble is if you want to compete with YouTube, replicate it.
Yeah.
Without the woke garbage, just replicate. Do exactly what YouTube's doing, and you'll have a platform.
I think they're getting there. They're doing it. It just takes time. They're doing a lot more commercials and all that. So it's getting there. The TV app is better. It's it's a lot better than it was before. Even like a year ago, it sucked. So So it's getting there. So I'm that's our best platform, and we get our most watches on there, and then Spotify too. Yeah. But YouTube, forget it. I mean, I gave up on.
Lucky
YouTube.
if you can upload to YouTube.
I'm uploading this most recent episode now.
It says we're live on YouTube right now, so I don't know.
Yeah, but interesting.
Anyways, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to make room for the Patriots Prayer podcast with Eddie and Maurice, I believe, tonight.
Nice.
It's either Eddie and Maurice or it could be the Cowboys and Indians podcast coming up next. So check them out. Tell them we sent you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Take it easy, guys.
Thanks for coming on, John.
Yeah, man.